Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So if you have supposed experts on your case, do you know what their CV is, or curriculum vitae, or their resume, or their expertise is, or their level of education? If you don't, why not? If you have somebody work on your car, you go to a place where you know they have experience and you're not their first time experiment right out of shop class or mechanic certification school. Somebody's about to do a heart surgery or brain surgery on you. If somebody's going to fix your plumbing or whatever, you usually take great care, caution, or exert some effort to find out how much experience does this person have, or how good are they at this, or what area of expertise do they have. But I talk to people all the time and I say, oh, is the person doing therapy for your child, or the court-appointed therapist, or the court-appointed mental health evaluator, are they a psychologist or a licensed mental health counselor or whatever? 99% of people, literally, maybe it's really 100, they say, I don't know. So somebody is recommending or writing a report saying you shouldn't be involved in your kid's life, and you don't have the wherewithal to look when they sign their name, whether it says PhD or psychologist. In Washington, if you're in Washington, if you look up RCW 26.12.175, I think that's the statute. That's the guardian ad litem statute. You have an automatic right to request their CV or their qualifications. You should be doing that, because if they're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, they don't know what the hell they're talking about when they talk about child psychology. So many of you are dealing with a guardian ad litem who's merely an attorney. That's merely somebody who usually is some stuck-up, arrogant prick or diva who was fed a golden spoon and lived in the suburbs and never had anything difficult in their life. And all of a sudden, they know about child psychology and narcissism and dysfunction in a broken family. And they're just a lawyer and they're talking about child psychology. You know, I talked to a psychiatrist. Usually when you talk to somebody and they say that the system is full of crap and they give you several reasons and break it down, that's usually the person to listen to more so. When people come out against government mandates and the medical industry and the media that is controlled by big pharma, or a scientist talks about global warming and how it's a lot of hype because all the scientists get funding for making those reports by the people who want to tax us for global warming and vilify carbon dioxide, which is essential for life and which was a lot higher during times of the dinosaurs or warmer climates or before the Industrial Revolution, where it couldn't have been man-made. If somebody comes out against an industry and that whole industry says, you're a heretic, you're crazy, the person usually that's coming out against the system and giving some decent reasons why, instead of just saying, oh, you guys are full of crap, they don't have anything of substance behind it. Usually, and then they're ousted by that system, because whoever's on the side of truth, they got nothing to worry about. They are not threatened by anybody. They don't need to delete or ban or silence or, oh my God, what's the word for it now? Shadow ban or remove you from social media. If you're lying, then your lying is going to prove itself. How can they have, oh, this is dangerous misinformation or fake news and could harm people? How could a lie harm people? After all you got to do is tell the truth. If you're the genius, then you can tell the truth. Now, if the lie is held up as truth and people are forced to follow the lie, that's what can harm people. That's a lie that can harm people. But if something's a lie and people are freely and willfully just going for it, that's their free will right to do that. So, in any case, I talked to a psychiatrist. She reached out to me. It's crazy because this psychiatrist is getting screwed in her own family court case. And she's talking about the system and how, the DSMV was only created, and they added, I've seen a psychologist who's like, he looks like he's pushing 80. And he said, we only had like about 13 different mental disorders about 50 years ago. Now we have like 300 of them or 200 or something like that in the DSMV. The reason and if you think about it, all the labels for paranoid, schizophrenia, bipolar, this personality disorder, that personality disorder, a lot of them are very similar. Sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, those guys all do the same thing. It's all the same profile of a serial killer, or your crazy baby mom, or the chick that I dated that ended up biting her 15-year-old daughter's neck and tearing skin off and punching her in the head. And then later posted on social media, I'm so alone, my kids left me when I needed them the most. After she beat the snot out of her kids. God, what a subhuman piece of garbage that I wasted energy on. But we all have our regrets with that. I went against my own advice. My first and last time ever playing Captain Save a Ho, Captain Rescue a Damsel in Distress. And see, I can come on. See, you guys know that I know what I'm talking about. When I get on here, I talk about I had a kid with a crazy woman, okay? And then after 20 years of having a decent dating life with women and still having cool relationships with them and still getting along with women that I dated, I was a dumbass and I went after a romance fraud player hoe who abuses her children and manipulates multiple men at the same time, sleeps with 7 different guys a week, slept with a married neighbor while she was pregnant and cheated on that baby's dad. And now recently after I left, she goes back to the boyfriend that beat the snot out of her and might have molested her 5-year-old. And I mean, I look like a total dumbass for that. And I did some videos before about it. I ended up having the court ordering I can't exercise my free speech right and share that stuff, so I can't name her or show pictures like I did before, and how I destroyed her in court. But so I'm doing an appeal on their decision to tell me I can't do all that stuff. So hopefully I'll have a testimony on that soon. So it's crazy because the chick, it's probably the craziest narcissist I've ever seen. Because recently there's people passing around this video like, this chick is crazy. And one person taunted me and said, James, here's your girl. She has a picture of her and her daughter, her 6-year-old daughter, sitting next to her. And her daughter's only wearing shirt and panties with her legs open and her tongue out on Snapchat, where she recruits all her boyfriends who pay her for stuff. So I bought a hook, line, and sinker the damsel in distress. Now I had an excuse. The chick has a broken arm, and she says that her ex-husband and his wife stomped her and broke her arm. But it turned out she went over there and set it off and started a fight with the babysitter, the ex-husband, and his wife, and one of them punched her in self-defense and she broke her arm. But she had tangible evidence of being a victim, so I believed it for a while. If she didn't have that, then, she's an average-looking woman who thinks she looks like a Holly Berry, narcissist like that. She's a total airhead, probably the dumbest woman I ever dated, but she had me feeling sorry for her, and I'm a dumbass. But back to this lady. The psychiatrist says that most of the psychological world is full of crap. It's all subjective. So you should be demanding credentials from people who are finding out. And this is why I know people can't read. When you read stuff, you should read every single word in reports and things like that, including when they say comma and it says MD or PhD or whatever. You should know that. You should know what the experts are qualified.